all right. Let's just make sure you can hear me. I just got to make sure you can hear me, and then we can get started. Yes, you can hear me. Just wanted to make sure you can hear me. All right. So what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. How was your weekend? Monday, it's always exciting for me. I don't know about you, but if it's not for you, I understand. That's hopefully a temporary thing. At some time, at some point, hopefully you can start enjoying the idea of waking up on Mondays as well. But yeah, Monday is an exciting time because obviously we can, if you do what you love, you're anticipating the market, you're trying to figure out what's going on in the market and see if there's any new thing we can learn, and more importantly, if we can go out there and make another killing in a brand new week. That's always exciting if you're doing what you love. Today we're going to be covering wholesale real estate with no money, no experience, and no license. That is something I have to make sure I cover today. So without any further ado, let's get started. All right, so let's just make sure, let me turn this off so we make sure we have clean audio. Let's make sure that you show some love to the video, hit the like button, give it some thumbs up, engage, if you're here watching this as a rebroadcast, use the comment area. Well, we're going to have some fun as usual. I'm going to share a ton of knowledge. Today I'm also going to talk about if wholesaling is dead. I just not quite long ago, maybe about like a few hours ago, I watched a video with some pretty decent gentlemen, for what I can see. I don't know them personally, about the idea of the national, let me see here, let me just make sure I say the right thing. You could literally go to the website, sign up and see what they're up to. It's called the National Real Estate Wholesalers Association, and you can find that at nrewa.org. Honestly, you're probably just going to end up on another guru's list, so just tread lightly when you go there, but wholesalers, are being pushed against on a lot of different local markets around the nation. We know about Oklahoma, we know about Ohio, we know about this one more other place, Illinois state, right? So those are real things that's going on out there. But let me just tell you, for you and I, you probably don't have to worry too much about this, okay? Because again, what I teach here, don't cheat, don't steal, don't lie. If you're taking care of those things at the very core and at every level in your business, I don't think you really have to worry too much about that, okay? Because at the end of the day, there's something that they said. As a matter of fact, let me play this video for you. This is awesome that I remember this. I think it's very, very important. Did I? Let's see here. Where's this video? I'm not sure I have the video. I don't have the video. I thought I had it. Let's see here. Let's go back here. Unfortunately, I don't have the video, but it's basically a clip where they were talking about the fact that your job as a wholesaler, what is real estate wholesaling? Real estate wholesaling is basically finding deals and reassigning those deals, aka selling those deals to other investors for profits. Okay, so what are deals? Deals is basically a real estate deal where you're able to secure a purchase contract that says you're able to buy a piece of property for 65% or less than what it's actually worth. Okay, and then you have to adjust that amount for whatever it's going to cost estimated to repair the property. So for example, if a property is worth $100,000, if you're able to find a deal where somebody is willing to sell it for $65,000 minus the estimated cost of repair. So in this case, let's say it's $15,000 estimated to repair the property and put it back on the market, right? That would be $50,000. So 65 minus 15 is $50,000. If you're able to find such deal and then you lock it up under a contract and then you sell the right in that contract to a person that's actually going to execute that sale, that is wholesaling. Okay, that's real estate wholesaling in the United States. Anyone from around the world can do this business, but I'm talking precisely about real estate in the United States. So, but you can do from anywhere as long as you have internet and you have. So there's some new regulations that have been coming about. Basically, the realtors, I think it's National Association of Realtors, the NAR. They have billions and billions of dollars that they're spending in lobbyists and lawsuits and creating regulation, writing new law bills and things like that to push against people that are making money in wholesaling. And I think it's a great mistake because honestly, wholesaling, like I was about to pull up, wholesalers create jobs for more than, according to these guys, I would say a few, less than 10 when I'm doing the estimate, but they said for more than 50 different professions in the business because you're generating leads for the business. Okay, these are leads that typically will not come on people's table until the homeowners spend money on fixing the property. That would typically be the only way they could sell their property at fair market value. But with the presence of people like wholesalers in the game, they're able to reach out to these homeowners and then find these deals and then lock it up under contract. This is typically a property they don't want anyway. And a lot of time this property will sit on the block useless, and and sometimes it's taken away by the bank or taken away by the county sheriff because they couldn't afford to fix the property. But now a wholesaler is able to come in and say, hey, your property is worth $100,000 after repair. I'm just using that number as an example. And they're able to say, you know what? It needs about $15,000 worth of work, as opposed to you going all over the place. Your credit is shot. You're in pre-foreclosure. They're going to take this property away from you. I'll just pay $50,000 for the property. This is money they would normally not find if they go through the realtors or real estate agents route. But a wholesaler is able to reach out to them and create that solution and make money. All right. So I think that's very let me keep this on. I think that's a very extremely valuable place to approach the real estate market. And I wasn't always able to explain it like this in the past, but here we are. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's wholesaling right there. So is wholesaling going dead because of all these different regulations? No, it's impossible. Okay, because again, nobody's doing anything illegal. There may be some bad apples in the business, just like any other business, right? But I'm talking from a general standpoint. No, it's not going anywhere. There may be a little pushback here and there. I'm saying if you're getting started for the first time, if you're brand new in the game of wholesaling, because today we're talking about the fact that no money is involved, no experience, no license is necessarily necessary. Obviously, you build experience over time. Obviously, having a license, not obviously, but having a license does not stop you from making money in wholesaling either, right? So, by the way, later on, I'm going to dive into the market. The stock market was red today again, and we're going to see if we can extract some lessons out of that as well. All right, so no, wholesale is not going to be dead. But what I'll tell you is that all the new gimmicky ways of doing the business, yes, eventually will continue to die off because they're not time tested. But wholesaling as a strategy is time tested, and the winners of the game will always find a way around it. They will always find a way around, of doing the business. Regulations are designed for any type of industry that's basically experienced emerging industry, right? If enough people are complaining that there's predatory practices, if enough people are complaining, then the enemies will find reasons to start writing crazy laws that will stop you from doing business. But again, those that will exit the business because of this, they just don't belong in the business in the first place. Okay, it's very, very important that you pay attention to what I just said. Those that will exit the business because of a pushback from regulation just didn't belong in the business in the first place. They're probably the people that were looking for quick make money overnight type of schemes, and then a little pushbacks, they're not able to do their dirty work, and then they exit. But there's a proverb in my native language that says when the faithful, or when the honest, I'm trying to give a loose translation. Bottom line is that when innocent people will be casualties sometimes when the bad people are being punished. That's a loose translation, right? So that's just the process that we have to go through. That's part of being an entrepreneur, and I think it's worth it. It's always going to be worth it. I mean, where else can you go where you can make $15, $20, $25, $30,000 just for helping someone get rid of a property? It's not too many places you can go. Okay, excuse me. There's not too many places, any industry you can go to. All right. So this is one of the space where you can come to and you can legitimately help homeowners, help a member of any part of community like homeowners, and then you make good money doing that, right? Not only that, when you do it long enough, you gain experience, you start building relationships, and opportunities comes your way. You may even choose to get licensed at some point and make referral fees from referring deals to real estate agents. The opportunities are endless. Okay, they are endless. So now, a lot of time, people talk about the no money. I'm attacking the topic right away today. I may even do that more so, right? We're talking about no money, no experience, no license. Let's handle that one at a time. When we talk about no money, we have to put things in context. When we say no money, we are talking about with respect to a traditional real estate transaction. So in a traditional real estate transaction, at least in New Jersey, what would happen is that you will go to a realtor, a real estate agent, and you say, I'm interested in that property. You say, okay, great. We'll take a look at the property. We'll take a walk through the property. We'll like the idea of this property. Then we'll put an offer together. What is an offer? An offer is a written sales contract signed by you as a potential buyer, accompanied by what we call the EMD, earnest money deposit. Usually that's $1,000 or more. Okay, for an average house, $1,000 or more. Because again, if it's less than $1,000, it showcases that maybe you're not serious. This is a typical property. You're just a consumer on the consumer end of things, a retail buyer, I should say, a retail buyer of a piece of property that you like, right? And you put $1,000, preferably $1,500 down for the purpose of of buying the property. That's called the EMD. So you have the EMD, and then the other thing that will usually accompany that is a proof of funds. Okay, proof of funds. All right. So that's typical, right? But in wholesaling, you can skip a lot of that. Okay, because number one, you're dealing with houses, properties that are not on the market. What do I mean by properties that are not on the market? At this point, I think I should go ahead and share my screen. The software that I use, you can try it out for free for 7 days. It's called PropStream. You can find it at empirebigdata.com. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and share my screen at this point so we can show you some activities. All right. All right, so first of all, you're not dealing with properties that are on the market, okay? And you don't want to deal with properties that are on the market, okay? Until, for the purpose of what we're talking about you have no money, you have no experience, you have no license, you're getting started. It's about where can you bring the most value to people that are existing in the business. You can find deals for us, okay? You can find deals for us, okay? So how do you find deals? You basically market to, you spend money. So now you're going to need money for marketing. Now we're talking about $17, $20, $100. You don't have to spend a fortune, okay? Where you want to spend most of your energy and resources is your ability to be consistent. Because when you set up a campaign, maybe a deal won't come from the first campaign. Maybe a deal won't come from the third campaign. Maybe it's your fifth campaign after you spend a few dollars, a couple of dollars, and then you close a $20,000 deal. Is it worth it? And that's what the software will do for you, right? You're able to, it's about consistency. That's where you're required for the most part. And if you're able to stay committed to a process and be consistent, then you have the qualifications required to make money in this game. Okay. So, but first of all, you're not dealing with properties on the market. So today, the city we should go to, let's go to, I'm thinking maybe you should go to a city. Let me think. Let's go to Augusta, Georgia. How about that, right? Augusta, Georgia. There you go. So we're going to go to Augusta, Georgia. This is actually a market that I'm not too familiar with, but I know that it's a fairly popular city in Georgia. And we can see here that there are 386 properties on the market presently on the MLS. We call it the multiple listing services. This is a membership that only agents have exclusive access to unless you own this software, right? And then, I mean, for the purpose of analysis, you can have access to properties listed for sale on Zillow, on Realtor.com, on Trulia.com, because they're being fed into those websites using a process called the IDX. But with this software, you have access to a lot of different tools that typically a licensed real estate agent will have access to. So again, you can access it using the website empirebigdata.com. All right, so typically we don't go after properties that are on the market. So if I go here, I'm going to set non-owner occupied. I want it to be vacant properties. When I set those, you can see that the number of properties on the on my list here already narrowed down. Let me go back and take those criteria out. I'm going to click X and click X. So in the beginning, there were 81,000 pieces of properties in that town alone in Augusta, Georgia, right? So I'm going to set the filter. I want it to be non-owner occupied, meaning it's actually owned by a landlord who doesn't live at the property. That increases the chances that they are less attached to the piece of property, okay, emotionally, because people's homes are their home. They're emotionally attached to it. Their family lives there. But if it's a second property that is being rented out or something like that, they're less attached to it. So it's easier for them to sell at a discount. Remember, what you're looking for is looking for deals for investors. Okay, so I'm going to say vacant. Vacant, again, even worse or better for us, because again, if a property is sitting not being utilized, increases the chances that they are open to getting rid of it because it's not producing any money for them. It's not being used, right? So now I'm going to go under this segment just to illustrate what I was talking about. I have other videos showing you how to use this particular software. Also, if you go under the chat support or the help tab, you see how to use it. Multiple different videos that shows you how to use it, tutorial videos or video tutorials, right? All right, so now I'm going to go here. I don't want to deal with properties on the market. So under MLS status, I wanted to say no. I don't want this property on the market, and that narrows my list down to 2251 properties that I can go after. Okay, so one thing I know about this 2,251 pieces of property is that they're non-owner occupied and they are vacant. So if I click onto this property, right, I can see this property, this beautiful piece of property here is vacant and is owned by somebody who doesn't live at the property. How does this software knows? Because this software can see here that there is a PO box. So again, when you see this is an exception to that rule, right? When there's a PO box number, right, that doesn't necessarily mean that the property is not owned by the person who lives there, right? It just means they own a PO box. Okay, so a mailing address. So, but if you go under MLS details, it was pulled off the market back in January. So look at this, pulled off the market. So why was it pulled off the market after 94 days? Probably because it didn't sell, right? Could this be a good candidate for you to be able to say, hey, listen, the property was on the market for at $174,000. Even though the property value estimated here, just the estimate, rough estimate, is showing 172, right? Property was also valued at 137 last year, where there are obvious reasons in the market right now why the property is quickly skyrocketed in value across board in the United States. There's low inventory in a lot of places, so this could be the reason why the value of the property increased. We can look closer at the value of the property by going into the comparable here, right? But anyway, we're not going to do that today. The point here is that we're going after properties that are not on the market. Now, that quick exception I just showed you, let me see if I can use other examples to show you. Let's see. All right, so another thing, I use a lot of filters, by the way, guys. Property characteristics, I like saying residential, and I like to say single and multifamily up to 2 family. So that reduces the number of properties on the list significantly, right? So let's look at this property on Cherry Avenue, okay? This property on Cherry Avenue, we know the address is Cherry Avenue, right? We know that, but right about now, I think this is a good time to make this the property of the day. Why? Because this is the example I'm looking for. This person, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, Kumia Jones and Felicia, right? They own this property, but they live somewhere else. They have another physical address, not a PO box, but another physical address altogether in another town, right? I'm not familiar with that area. Maybe it's the next town over, maybe a little bit further, but it's in Georgia. And this property's address is this, right? We're gonna mail a postcard to this address saying we're interested in buying this property, okay? We're going to send a postcard. All of that can be done inside of this software, right here inside of this software. We can go now. What should we offer on this property, right? How much should we offer? Before I come back to that, let me just make sure that we're still on point here. Yeah, actually, let's finish that. Comparable. If I go under comparable here, I can see that there are some sold comparables based on public record, and because this is a disclosure state, let's find out if if Georgia is a disclosure state, right? We can literally ask Google, is Georgia a disclosure state? Let's see if Google will tell us. Because this is a smaller niche than mainstream, is Georgia a disclosure state? Although Georgia statuses do not require sellers to fill out a disclosure form, Georgia courts have stated that home sellers must inform buyer about any latent or known material. Okay, so we don't know. Let's see. State disclosure is property disclosure. All right, let's disclosure states. Let's just say disclosure states. Real estate. I have a list somewhere, but okay, so is Georgia a full disclosure state? That's what we're trying to find. The full disclosure states are right here. Georgia is one of them, okay? So they have to kind of disclose. So you could definitely just Google full disclosure state and you can see the list of disclosure state. They have to disclose how much the property was sold for, and that's why you're not seeing EST in front of this value. This is the actual amount that these properties were sold for, okay? So if you're paying attention, you know that recently prop streams were not able to pull MLS data of sold properties anymore, right? So that's why we're looking at it this way, right? But we're still able to see sold after a few months when it's recorded in the public data. But you can see here that this property is telling us after we pull the comps, if we go to 1 mile radius and we go back as far back as this went back as far back as 1 year, but I like to stay within 6 months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to put that here. So you can see that this property is worth, so far, it's worth about $54,000. But because of the, yeah, let's just keep it at that space, because again, low inventory is inflating value right now. So I need to see 6 months of data. If we go here, take out that checkpoint, and I'm going to go and sort this based on square footage. We know that the square footage of the subject property is 936. So I'm looking for properties kind of like around that same range. We know that the subject property has, what, 2 bedrooms and 1 bath. That house does look small. So we can also set that here and say maximum of 2 bedrooms because we're buying. If we're buying, we want to make sure that we're not overpaying. We're basically beating the price down. When we're selling, we're inflating within the context of the market value, right? Of course. So we're not just trying to cheat. We're trying to extract the most that the market can bring us, right? Maximum of 1 bathroom, right? And that sorts the list again for us, right? So if we go down again, you scroll all the way to the square footage, and we can look at just the properties within that same square footage. We can do it like that, just 3, right? And you can see that this property is worth about $45,000. I'm just estimating. It says 46 here, maybe maximum $50,000, right? If I look at what the maximum in that, if I sort this to highest to bottom of the sales price within 1 mile radius, on the same street we have 111 Ellis. I can select this, select this, select this. It's telling me that the property can probably go for 117. Another feature that that I saw here earlier when let's see if I can find it. Oh yeah, right there, public record sales situation. You can narrow down to only cash buyer. Boom, you can see what cash buyers are paying in that area, right? So based on what cash buyers are paying in that area, we can easily just select this and say, okay, we cannot pay more than 27,000. So you as a wholesaler can easily just use this particular filter. This feature right here is beautiful, right? You can see that they're paying as low as $10,000, $14,000. So depending on how much you want to make, if you want to make $10,000, you can go ahead and chase after deals in this area and just try to see if you can find a deal at $15,000, $17,000, $20,000 and make a quick $5,000 to $10,000 from that. Like that, you can do it that way. And if you know that you have your foot on ground properly in that market, you can also say, nah, I need to see what the full potential in that market is. Take out that filter and then sort from top to bottom on sales amount, and then select the top, right? And then if you know that you have good relationships in that market, you can pick this top 5 and say, okay, properties can command up to $100,000 in that area based off of a $100,000 price per square footage. That means that you are willing to sell this property or find somebody that will be willing to buy this property and expand the property, add some value to the property. But there's a lot of things you can do with that. Or keep in mind that this is all estimates, okay? So basically, that's the property of the day. That's the property of the day. Really quickly, I wanted to show you that. But again, to do this, no capital money. If you are writing a contract for wholesaler, you can put, if you insist, if somebody tells you that you have to put 10,000, some kind of money down as a consideration to make the contract binding, I want to tell you that a wholesale contract are probably not enforceable anyway. So I wouldn't overthink that, okay? I've never had to put money down ever, okay? But if you insist and you say you want to do things, quote unquote, the righteous way, then don't put more than $10 on any property. And before you do that, make sure that you've evaluated the property properly for the value, and you're locking in a contract that you plan to execute. And also, if you're not putting anything down, please don't go out there and be abusing people and be locking in contracts that you have no plans to execute. All right. So, but the point is that you don't need capital money for big EMDs. If you're starting off as a wholesaler, your job is to find deals, lock in those deals with a purchase contract, and assign those deals to cash buyers as cash buyer investors, as a wholesaler. Okay. And where do you find cash buyers? The same software. You can see in that market, there's a tab here that says cash buyers. There's 150 of them. You can tap on that and you can go into actually the details of each one of these properties. Let's see. Let's click into one of the properties again. You go to comparables, cash buyers in that market, and you can see all the deals they bought, right? All the deals they have under contract or purchased. Okay. So another way to do that is we're in Augusta, right? So you could X out of a particular property and you could go under cash buyers. You can tap into this filter right here, and you can go under filter and change the ownership info under that part. You can change it to years of ownership to last sales date. You can change that to the last 3 years, right, by simply changing the year down here to 220. and pick that date, and you X out, and you can see these are all the 2,000 cash buyers within around that market, and you can tap into it, and you can see this person, Presley Leslie, is a cash buyer. You can see the cash sales right here from $12,000. They purchased this property. These are the people you need to build relationship with if you're going to be operating exclusively in that market. Okay. All right. So boom, boom, boom. Let's keep going here. Let's go. All right. All right. So that's that. So no experience needed. Again, I'm sharing this with you. We have tons of video tutorials that cover how to use the software. And if you're looking for coaching, you can just go through, download my free books, and then go through my masterclass, and that will take you through my coaching platform. Okay. We also have, once you get through that, we also have 2 different free courses that you can go through as well at realestatemoneysecrets.com. All right, so with that being said, let's go into the market. Let's see what happened in the market. I'm going to refresh this. I stay on this pages, you too can, but I like to always come here and see what's going on in the market. Okay, let's see. All right, great. All right, so we know that the market is all in the red today except NASDAQ, the stock exchange for the tech stocks. It rallies about 2%. I want to see why. Let's see why it rallied. How's that? Right. So US stocks staged an afternoon rally on Monday. As that means the rest of them rallied, but they didn't make it into the green, right? On Monday, as major tech stocks reversed earlier losses, helping the Nasdaq Composite snap a 4-day losing streak. The Nasdaq closed with a gain of 0.05%, 14,000 points, or 15,000, after falling more than 2% earlier in the day. The S&P 500, let me blow this up just to make sure we can see. The S&P 500 closed down 0.14%. Dow Jones 162 points. All right, so let's get to the reasons. Large cap tech stocks were under pressure in early trading, but were able to stabilize and then move higher as the day wore on. Nvidia, I think Nvidia is a video card. I think so. Nvidia, Tesla, and Apple all closed higher after losing ground earlier in the session. The rough start to the year for stocks has come as interest rate. This is why interest rate. All right, interest rate. What is interest rate? It's the cost of money. A lot of people don't realize that money itself is a tool that actually costs money. And that's why, that's the more so reason when we tell you no money is needed to get started in any business, frankly, especially wholesaling. A lot of people say, you're right. That's because you've added too much value to money. Okay? Money is just another tool that costs money, that goes ups and down in cost. And how? How so? By way of interest rates. Okay? Who sets this? The Feds, or what you call the central bank of most other nations. It's called the Feds here, the Federal Reserve here in the United States. Have spiked. The benchmark 10-year Treasury yield briefly traded above. Okay, let's skip through this a little bit. On Sunday, Goldman Sachs projected the Fed will hike rates 4 times in 2022. So what happens is that when there's crisis going on, you know what crisis we're talking about in the last 2 years, right? What happens usually is that, oh, by the way, thank you for the 5 people who gave us the thumbs up. If you're still watching me, please give a thumbs up to the video so we can attract more. Thank you. Yeah. So when there's crisis, everybody's afraid. There's emotions, right? Everybody's afraid to spend money on Wall Street, but also on Main Street, in the regular market, and also in the stock market, right? Everywhere across board, even real estate, right? People are afraid to spend money, so they hold on to their money. So there's less supply of money in the system. And what we call economy is basically the free flow of money through the system. That's what we call economy. When there's transactions, there's changing hands, and money is moving. That's what we want. And that's how we create economy, both on a personal level, but also especially at the market level, right? So, so what happens is that when markets start to flow, because people are holding on to their money or hodling their money, the market reduces interest rate. Okay, so people that have cash hold on to their money, including the banks, right? So the market will lower interest rates to give people more opportunities to borrow money, right? Borrow money and make money move, because it's just cheaper money, right? It's to do more business. And when you do more business, then there's more money flowing through the marketplace. And that's basically what we call a good economy, okay? So now they've relaxed, the Feds, the central bank, have relaxed the rates over time, and to help boost the economy, to help spending, and to reduce the cost of money, right? But now that they can't do that forever. They have to at some point allow the market to thrive on its own. And the idea was to kickstart the market when they're giving. So anytime you hear a lot of handouts from the government and stuff like that, just keep in mind that it comes at a cost, and that cost is coming right now. And that's what you see when they say Goldman Sachs is basically projecting. That's what they call it in the market, projecting that there's going to be a rate hiking, meaning increased rates in 2022. And what that does is that it creates a little bit of panic and emotion, right, in the marketplace, fear, and then the market kind of reacts to that. And that's what the sell-off earlier on today was, and that's why majority of the stock exchanges ended up in the red, and just a slight up on the Nasdaq, and towards the end of the day, right? However, the market appeared to be nearing key technical levels on Monday. At its lowest point, the Nasdaq was more than 9% below its record closing high from November, putting on the verge of a correction. Okay, so no matter how much emotions happens in the market, at some point the market will correct, because some people are on the other side and they're ready to spend money, and there's always a big battle between bullish and bearish behavior in the marketplace, meaning buyers and sellers, right? So people are starting to buy the deep. Once they see the market goes down like that, they start buying the deep, and that's what we saw. So I'm going to click into this, and then we're going to take a look at this. And let's see on a 1 day, and you can see those movements on the chart. All right, so there was a crash earlier on, and then as the market corrected, because at some point there are people always sitting on the sideline looking for this kind of bargains. Okay, so for example, in real estate wholesaling, wholesalers will represent people looking for the bargains. So the people that are looking for the bargains are always in the marketplace looking for the right time to come in. In wholesaling real estate, what we look at is we look to market. We send out marketing pieces, postcards, we make cold calls, we send out text messages to these people, to potential sellers, what we call distressed sellers, or distressed homeowners, right? And we saw that in the software earlier, which is pre-foreclosures, things like that. By the way, Flipper Agents is a nice little it's called Flipper Agent. That filter is used, it's called Flippers, to find information of agents that will have access to cash buyers and usually open to doing business with wholesalers, investor friendly realtors. Okay, all right. So you can see then the market rallied back up throughout the course of the day since about just before noon, right, Eastern Standard Time. All right, let's see if there's anything else here. However, the market appeared to be okay. At its lowest point, it was more than 9% below its record closing high from November, puts it on the verge of correction. JP Morgan Strategy said in a midday note that investors should buy the deep. All right, buying the deep. We buy low, we sell high. We buy low, we sell high. That's how we make money in business, right? CIO of Boston Private Wealth said at the closing bell that the economy should be able to handle a further rise in interest rates. All right, so that's the idea. So even though on the short term, this is why you always want to think short, long term, mid term. In the short term, during the midday trading, you could see that the market reacted with its usual behavior, emotional behavior, right? But in the long term, you always make sure that you're paying attention to the long term. I do personally feel like, of course, the market can withstand rate hikes, because again, a market where the rate just stays low forever too, that's not what you're looking for. It's useful when there's crisis, but at some point the rate is going to have to hike. But you see a lot of our materials will overreact in the marketplace, right? But I do think from an economy standpoint, we're looking at continued growth over the next several quarters. So that's good news, right? Good news. All right, so let's see what else may be going on in the market today. Let's go back. Yep. All right, so Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin briefly tumbles below. I don't know if you're paying attention to crypto. I do. As a matter of fact, I am heavily invested in crypto. I just don't talk much about it because, to be frank, I can't teach something that's very volatile like that. So be careful when you're out there. If you're putting money in the stock market, in the cryptocurrency market, be careful. Make sure you are well diversified and you know what you're doing. Okay. The price of Bitcoin fell at one point Monday to its lowest point since September, as rising rates continue leading investors to shed positions in risky growth-oriented assets. Bitcoin fell as much as 6% to touch a low of $39,000, right? According to Coinmetrics, but as since it last traded, blah, 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 Ether, second largest, is Ethereum, also took back losses. It tumbled as low as 2,900. Declines. Why is it tumbling? That's somebody selling off. That's a person, a whole human being selling off and panicking, right? Declines across the cryptocurrency market follow a week of rough trading. Okay, let me see. All right. Okay, I was wondering. Follows a week of rough trading for equities, particularly momentum stocks, as the 10-year U.S. Treasury yield spiked to start 2022. All right. Investors have been rotating into more cyclical and value names. All right, so a week of rough. Blah, blah. We've seen Bitcoin behave like a risk asset on numerous occasions over the past few months. All right, head of market insights, Genesis. We've seen various indications that market sentiment is somewhat spooked by the spike. All right, that popped up right in the middle of the. Let's see what's going on here. Stocks making the biggest moves after hours: Intel, Micron, Wayne Resorts, and more. Intel, the tech giant, jumped more than 4% after hours after the company confirmed the appointment of. Okay, all right. So you know that appointments at these major companies will make a difference, right? Shares of the chip maker Micron fell more than 1% in extended trading after New Street Research initiated the stock at a buy with a price target of 135. Okay, so now let me explain this to you. When you see stocks that basically, what is it? It's at what? It's trading at $92 right now. Okay, $92. So let's see if we can make some sense out of this, right? New Street Research initiated the stock at a buy with a price target of 135, implying about 43% upside from its closing Monday. Okay, so it just tells you that the market is not budging. They're not, because typically, if a major, this is not a major, maybe it's not a major, I'm not familiar with that name. But if it's a major platform like JP Morgan, Chase, blah, 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 Goldman Sachs, and they set a high price like that, when there's a major platform like with authority in the marketplace, if they say that and it's trading at 92, typically that will make them start buying it, make the market start buying into it, right? The hotel and casino stock fell 1% after Citi on mortgage downgraded. This is an example of what I'm talking about. When they downgrade it, when a major platform like Citi, right, downgrade an asset like this from neutral, to neutral from buy, they were on buy, that will affect the market emotions, right? The move after hours followed a trading day when its peer, Las Vegas Sands, declined about 2% on a downgrade of its own. Investors in both stocks have been focused on the renewal of their concession licenses to operate in whatever that is. I'm not familiar with that is. All right, so you can see how the market, well, the reason why I like showing this is to tell you that the market behaves the same way across board. Either we're talking about real estate, or we're talking about the stock market, or we're talking about the main street, right? Value is about value at the end of the day. Are you able to read value? Do you know how to read value? Does it make sense to you when we say you can get into the business of wholesale real estate with no money, no experience, no license? Why would you be able to do that? Because you're able to bring value in other ways, by finding deals for people that don't have the luxury or time to continue to bring deals to their own business. You help them find the deals, you make a little 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, $100,000 from those kind of deals, and that's how this works. All right. So back to the Bitcoin here. Bitcoin hit a record high near $69,000 in November. Okay. After a hot inflation reading that at the time showed the biggest jump in consumer prices in 30 years. That reading caused investors to jump into inflation edges, including Bitcoin and gold. So you see, the institutional money is going back and forth between all the different assets, depending on how, wait for this, on how safe they feel. It's greed and fear at the end of the day. You also have the same emotions. It's just being able to stay in a zone where you understand and you acknowledge that you have the same emotions, and you move like a player in this game. Okay. So now, if you already have all the money in the world, why would it be valuable to you to learn how to make money in real estate with no money? Because again, nobody has all the money in the world. At the end of the day, you're subject to everybody else and the marketplace, right? So you may just be in a place where you can use the skill set to attract more deals. So instead of finding deals for other people, you find deals for yourself, but you're also able to pass those deals to other people for a quick assignment fee, $5, $10, $20,000. That will be additional assets in your net worth, right? At the very minimum, you may even have people that can work for you to help you find these deals off of this skill set. And all thanks goes back to this piece of software. Yes, I am actively trying to sell it because I do believe it's one of the best in the business. Okay, and also in addition to that, it helps us support this platform. So back to Augusta, Georgia, right? Let's go back to Augusta, Georgia. We already know, we learned today that Georgia is a full disclosure state. That means you're able to see how much they're selling those properties for, right? So let me just go ahead and close this. Let's go to Zillow, right? Let's go to Zillow, Augusta, Georgia. Boom, right? And it puts us right on Zillow in Augusta, Georgia. We do see this piece of property right here. Let me see if I can find something pretty decent just from picture standpoint. All right, there's a new construction here on 1305 11th Street. But let's not worry about the new construction. Let's look at this one. This one is house for sale, 5-bedroom, $340,000. But it's in Epsiba, Georgia. So that's around Augusta, I'm guessing. Let's just look at this house right here. The first one, all right, is in Augusta, and it's 2008 Hatton Court. Let's go ahead and do that. All right, 2008 Court in Georgia. It's already pre-populating, right? See, there are two different exact same address around the nation. There's one in Columbia, Missouri, and there's Augusta, Georgia, right? Boom. And how much are they trying to sell this for? They're trying to sell this for $269. Based off of PropStream, PropStream is telling us that this property, well, we can see that it's on the market. See, I think you can see that it's on the market, right? See where it says status on the market, right? But it's telling us how much are they selling for? It's telling us the average comp is $257. They're looking to sell it for $269. It's listed at $269. The estimated value is $241 actually, right? So we can click into the details, right? Let's see. There's a lien against this property for $10,000. We can see that. The MLS details, like the listing information right now, you can see that right here. All right, but you can also see what's going on in that area from a comparable standpoint. Now, you could put 1 mile radius. Another thing that I like to do when I'm assessing this property, I will scroll all the way to the right of this table, and then I will sort based on proximity. So I want the closest one around it to be close to it. I'm going to take out this checkbox and select the closest property to it. And it's telling me that the average price is $253. They're looking to sell it for $269. Ideally, I understand why they probably listed it higher because of the market right now. There's low inventory. They're probably hoping for some kind of a bidding war, right? And they may be able to pull it off, right? Let's see what the highest that sold in that area sold for. How do you do that? You go down back to amount sold for. Let's see. Let's look for it right here, amount, and you click on the column header to sort from top to bottom. You can see within 1 mile radius, a property is being claimed to have sold for $2 million here. $2 million. That's an outlier. I wouldn't want to use that, right? So I'm just about to pick properties within 1 mile radius that sold the highest in that area to give me an idea of what is potentially possible in that area. When I selected them, I can look at the average sales price up here. We could probably get up to $282,000 for this property if it's marketed properly, right? If there are incentives to be able to sell it, how much concession is involved, and things like that. All right. So yeah, that's some of the stuff that I wanted to make sure I share with you today. The point of this topic is that yes, you can make money. You can join the business with no money. When I say that, I mean capital. It will cost you a couple of dollars to market, but you can get started for literally free. You can look at the resources on this screen right now, and you can literally see that there's the free books, there's the free masterclass. We cover everything. We don't hold anything back. The only thing that costs time on this platform is my personal time, simply because I can't afford to give it away for free. But I have tons of recorded video, tons of recorded training, free courses, and things like that that helps you, that you can use to absolutely make boatloads of money, available for free. And I also have, by the way, I have free text message support. But once you come in through realestatemoneysecrets.com, you'll be able to get access to my personal direct number where you can text me and you can ask me questions. And by the way, I don't really care if you buy anything from me or directly. If you ask me questions, I answer regardless. I get mine regardless. All right. So hopefully you've been enlightened and educated, and I'll see you on the next one, and peace.